Hey everyone, this is Mr. Isometric, and in this video we are going to actually remake one of my animations I made earlier. That animation was how AC current flows, and many of you have requested to make a video about how I made that animation. So how the electron flows into the wire, that animation was actually pretty good. So I won't be making the whole animation again, but I will make sure that this video tutorial will be as beginner level as possible, but I still hope that you have used Blender a little bit. So yeah, let's get started. For the wires, I will basically use the Bezier curve. You can use any of the curve you want, but Bezier curves works fine with me. So yep, I will use Bezier curve. You can press 7 to go in the top view, and then once you have your Bezier curve in your scene, by the way, for the beginners, shift A to add the stuff in your object. So shift A, then go in curve, and you can have your curves over here. So yep, there is my Bezier curve over there, and if I go into the edit mode, I can now edit the curve. I think you are not able to see the curve that well. I don't know if that is visible in the recording, but here is my curve. Let me just turn on some things, which is, oh, by the way, first you have to go into the edit mode, and then you can have normals. Okay, here it is. So as you can see, you can view the normals of the curve. They are just for the direction sake, and I like to have them in my scene. So to make the wire, you can control the whole curve point over here. This is called as control point of any curve. Okay, and this is the curve vector over here. This curve vector controls the tangent of the curve, so as this curve will always be tangent at this point, and that can be controlled by this control vector over here. So as you can see, I can control my whole curve with that. So what I will do is, for making wire, what I like to do is, I like to go into the snapping mode and then turn it to the absolute grid snap, and then over here in the toolbar I will just click on that gizmo over there, which is for moving stuff. So if I now hold down control, then I can snap it to my grid, so that way I get a little more good control over that. So I will just snap it to where my old grid was. Okay, so it was over like here, and they both are now at the equal distance. To divide the curve, you can just simply select the 2 points and then right click, and then there will be a subdivide option. So now you have subdivided your curve into two parts in between, and from the bottom menu over here you can have as many point as you wish. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. You can also extrude the curve like you normally do. If you just select the control point of it and then hit E to extrude, then you can now extrude the curve. Okay, and you can hold down control to snap it. You can also choose X axis to lock it on. I mean, just by pressing X you can lock it on X, by pressing Y you can lock it on Y, and by pressing Z you can lock it on Z. By the way, you can't see the Z because Z is pointing toward us. So if I hit G to grab and then Z, so now you can just have it locked on the Z axis. Let us take it to the side. Let's go into the top view, and then we can also do one thing, and that is we can just hit X, and then you can either dissolve or you can just delete the vertices or a segment. So if I choose vertex, so that newly made curve will be deleted, and if I just choose this middle point in between these two curves, if I choose to delete it by the vertices, they will get separated. These 2 points will get separated, and if I just choose over here this point and X and just dissolve that vertices, you'll see that these two vertex are still there of the curve and nothing is being separated. So yep, That's it, I think, for this much. So what we will do is, for making the wire, I will grab it towards over there, and then I'll do the same for here. Okay, now I actually want that control point between them, so right click and then subdivide. Let's grab it towards the top till there, and then you can just hit S to scale it, and you can scale it till there. Okay, so now I can just grab it till there, and then grab this towards till there. You can make this curve sharp as much as you want. You can just drag it outwards like that, and then you can also drag this inwards like that. Okay, so that way you can sharpen your curve, or you can just add a little more control by just like you can subdivide it. Okay, so now what we will do is, as these both curves moves at the meet at this point, so we can just grab them over there and then scale it down, so you get a little bit of sharp transition. Or you can change the handle type of that. I think I actually don't use curve that much, but I think you can do that as well. Okay, so ignore that. Let's dissolve this because we don't need that sharp transition. Let's bring it down till there. Let's bring it down till there, and as you can see, I got my curve. So as you can see, this curve is little bit jagged. You can change the resolution of the curve for smooth animations. So over here in the outliner tab, I got my curve properties over here. So first thing, before I add geometry, what I will do is, I will first give it a little bit of bevel, and that bevel will be round, so it's perfect for wires and stuff like that. So let's give it a depth, and this depth can be anything you want and how much you want. You can also make pipes with this, as I made that old tutorial. Okay, so as you can see, this curve also has a resolution over here, so you can control that from over here. I usually go with 12, and then right click and then shade smooth. You can go up to any height you want. I think 20 will look fairly good. Yep, you won't even notice that. And also, for the resolution of this curve over here, you can increase it over here. And then I think resolution, preview and render, keep this both at 20, I think 20, or you can also increase it to somewhat like 32. Yeah, 32 looks way smoother. Okay, so depending on what results you want, and as this is completely procedural, you can control it anytime you want. So you can either change depth of it, so let's make it 0.012. okay, or I think 0.024. 1.5 will look good. Okay, and now what I will do is, I will also check this option, fill caps, if you want to fill the caps over here, as you can see. So now let's go on the top view, and let's save our project now, because it's too late. We will save it in my tutorial scene. I think I'll save it by making, so let's name it curve tutorial. And then let's name our file tut1. Let's save it. And now as you can see, I got my wire, and as I said, this wire is completely procedural, so now you can just go ahead and extrude n number of wires you want. Okay, and then align them as per need of your project. So what I will do now is, by the way, in the last video, I think in that tutorial, I made some loop of the current. So current won't loop unless your this wire is completely filled and enclosed. So for closing a wire, you just have to click F, select the ends of it and just click F button, so it will now get cyclic. And now as this is a complete loop, you can create anything you want with this. Now let me just take it right till over there. I'll do the same for this one. So now as this is in a loop, it is actually necessary for it to be in a loop, or your balls will just, or the electrons representing spheres will just go from this point to the end, and it will just go to the infinity and it won't come back again. So I actually hit this section of wire with that AC box over there. So yep, you can shape this anyhow you want. I won't do that now for the tutorial sake. Now let us add our electrons. So electrons will be nothing but you can either choose UV sphere or icosphere. As this is going to be an emission, so I will just choose icosphere with low resolution. The subdivision levels, let's keep it to 3, or you can just have 2, doesn't matter. Now I will just scale it down, and it is important to have both of them origins at the center. So whatever changes in position you do in the edit mode by hitting tab. Okay, so when I won't be actually moving this sphere, so let us change the sphere size to something or like this. Just increase it a little bit. Okay, so now Control A to apply the rotation and scale. Also do the same for the curve, apply rotation and scale. And now this is a little bit of tricky part, because this can be a little different for everyone, depends on the situation. So let us select our curve, and then okay, so our curve properties are fairly good. You can also choose custom profile for your curve in the bevel section with some object, or you can just make your custom profile with this curve, but I think that will be too advanced for beginners. So let's just keep it to round, as this proves to be a really good wire subject. So let us select our sphere, and then what we will do is we will apply a modifier on that. We will apply a curve modifier, and then for the curve object we will select our Bezier curve over here, and as you can see it directly snaps on to our curve. And if your is not snapping, you should actually experiment and choose any one of this and see which works for you. So before applying this modifier, you first have to make sure that both the origin of your curve and your object are at the same location. And then after you are done with this, as you can see, if I move my ball in X direction, why X direction? Because deform axis is set to X on my modifier. So if I grab it on X axis, as you can see, it's started to move in the wire direction. So you can do that. Also now you can do is you can keyframe animate this, or you can either use drivers. So if you look at this, it's moving in my X direction. So what I will do is the most easy part of doing this is just turn this auto keyframing on, and then you just have to add I, and then by selecting your sphere, just click I, and then you can hit location, and then you can go some frames ahead like 40, and then you can just drag this to something like, wait a minute, let me just zoom out, let's grab it on X. Okay, till there. So now if you'll see, between 0 and 40 my electrons, which I mean the sphere which I am representing as electron, is flowing. So you can change their interpolation type as well. So interpolation type will affect your animation. Let me set this end frame to 40, and if we just play this, there will be some kind of acceleration going on over here. Let me just also have a graph editor for better representation. Now let us have a graph editor, and as you can see, there is a little bit of acceleration going on over here. So it starts with some smooth value and then returns it with it linearly doesn't go, it goes with some acceleration value. Okay, so to change that, you can just select your keyframes and then right click, and then interpolation mode you can change it to from Bezier to linear. Just have to click on linear, and then as you can see, there is no acceleration. This value just goes straight into it. And if I again change it to Bezier, you'll notice some acceleration and deceleration at the ends. If I just make this keyframes a little bit longer, select this and move this till I think 120. Let me make my end frame 120 as well. So now as you can see, it's getting really fast, and it's slowing down slowly over here. As you can see it in the animation over here, it gets fast in this area and then slows down gradually. But if I change the interpolation mode to linear, let me select everything and then change interpolation mode to linear, and as you can see, it goes with the uniform velocity, as you can say. So that's the one thing you can do. So if it is a DC current, you should actually, if you are going to represent a DC current, then you should probably use the linear interpolation. And if you are going to use a AC current, then I would suggest you to use the interpolation mode as a Bezier, because there is some acceleration and deceleration inside the AC current. It is exactly as the velocity diagram. Okay, so I think that is done. So let me just turn that auto keyframing off, and now let's get into our rendering stuff. So to add our camera, just shift A and add a camera, alt G and alt R, press to remove its location and rotation transform. So now what I will do is I will just split my screen into two and press 0 in the screen to go into the camera view mode, and then I will just grab my camera up, and then I will grab my camera behind on the y-axis, and then I will rotate it on X by R and X. So now I can rotate it on X-axis, and as you can see on the left side, I got my view to the object, and then from here I can actually go into the normals, and then I can just plug my camera to near over there. Also you can go over here and remove these two options. You can press T to remove that toolbar, and you just got yourself a full camera view. You can select your camera over here and then go into camera options over there. Let me just drag that out a little bit. Let's remove this bottom. Okay, so in the viewport display there is a setting known as pass part out. So just make it 1 if you want to. It's completely optional, you don't have to do this. I just like it because it just gives me the inside camera view, so do that as well if you want to. Now shift A, and then let's add in a mesh, and that is a plane. So this will be our ground, and in that tutorial I actually made this plane big enough to cover my whole camera. Now I will just scale it. Okay, that's that over there. And now as my camera is completely covered, I rendered everything inside the Eevee render engine, so you do that as well. Also, as you can see, my plane is cutting my curve, so what I will do is I will just grab it a little bit down, so until my nothing is getting covered. Okay, so you can also go into the side view by pressing 3 or 1, and I will just adjust it so that it is not touching my sphere over there. So yep, there till there it is good. And now let's get to the shading workspace. Okay, so what we will do is we will hold down Z, and then we will drag our mouse to the render view, and you won't be seeing any stuff. So as we are in Eevee, you need to add some lights in the scene because there are no lights in the scene. So what I like to do is I'll just quickly add an HDRI. I just went in my shader editor, and then let's change this to world. So now let's add our HDRI. You can download HDRI from HDRI Haven. So let's get into the search and let's find image texture. Wait, not image texture, we want environment texture. So this is our environment texture. You can just plug that into the color, and now we have to add an HDRI. So I already have HDRIs over here, so I will just change it to one of the HDRIs I like. This looks good. Now you can control its strength over here of the HDRI. Also you can add in a mapping node, and then you can add texture coordinate and plug generated over there. And now with the Z value rotation you can control the angle of your light of your HDRI. By the way, if you don't know what HDRI is, then it is basically the light source within the image. So you can just plug and play over there the image. As you can see, I am rotating the image with this Z rotation and my lighting is changing, so till over there. Or you can also do one thing is, if you don't need HDRI, you can just plug an HDRI and then you can have your own light source such as point, sun, area, and this. I won't be going with them a lot, but I generally use area lamp. So grab it on Z axis, and as you can see, it's giving me some nice lighting on that wire and that electron ball. So let's just turn that on so that we can see everything. So this is my area lamp over here. You can use S to scale it, and then you can just grab it on the top like that. By the way, you can also decrease the strength of the HDRI to something like this. So 0.5 I think will work good enough. Let's grab this, rotate on Y, shift T to duplicate it, and then what I will do is I will change my coordinates to global, rotate Z 180 degree. Let's grab it over here, let's grab it towards the back over there. Okay, so now you can also change the lighting of this. Let's just plug that, change this to object. Okay, so now you can also change this lighting to with the help of this color light of and you can also change the power to something like 60, or say let's just go to 200. And as you can see, now I can change the color, and you'll see that a light of color is changing. So I'll just keep it white as it is. Let's change it to 60, and let's change this to 60 as well. Great. So now let's press 0 to go into our camera view, and as you can see, our plane is selectable, our wire is selectable, and our spheres are selectable, and also it is animated. So what we have to do is we have to give material to each one of them. So with the sphere selected, I'll just increase my this view over here. Let's give it a new material, and we will call it electron. You can name it anything you want. And over here, as we want it to emit some light, you can just change this emission strength to this white color, and then this emission strength will determine how emissive that is. So let's change it to something like 5, and then you can also give that electron color which is a little light bluish color. Okay, so now that is done for the electron. Also you can go into your this setting over here, render properties, and enable ambient occlusion, bloom, and screen space reflection. Okay, you do that, and once you enable the bloom, you'll see that this light has a little bit of bloom to it. You can change the bloom intensity over here, make it less intense. Let's just keep it to default settings, and now what we will do is we will increase the emission strength to something like 10. So now as you can see, it's bright now. You can also decrease it a little bit. That lamp, I just selected the lamps and decreased their intensity, and now what we will do is we will select our ground plane. Let's give it a new material and let's name it ground. We will make this ground different color, something like this color will look good. Okay, now you can change it to metallic to make it like metal. You can play with the roughness value. The less the roughness, the more reflective it will be. So let's keep the roughness till over, I think, like 0.6. And now let's make our copper material. So for copper, let's make it a new material and let's name it copper. So as this will be my copper wire, you can name it anything you want. I will just go on full metallic and zero roughness. And as this is white, I don't want it white, I want it a little bit of copper like. So this color will work great for the copper. You can also Google the copper color and just directly plug that into there. So as you can see, that's the only setup I used for my tutorial, and that's how you make your electron flow in your wire. And now all you have to do is just animate this electron and you're good to go. Also play with this setting as much as you want. That's how I made my electron flow over there. And also for the curve, the graph curve I made, it was also with the help of curves, and the curve I used was Bezier as well. So if I just decrease its scale, let's go to the, you can also go into the solid view now just to edit it. Let's go to the top view. Let's grab our curve over there, and then what I will do is make it, let's make it something like that over there. Bring it over here and just roughly make a sine wave for everyone. Let's extrude that over there, rotate. Okay, great. So by the sine wave, let's do the same thing as we did earlier. Let's give it a little bit of thickness by giving it a depth. Increase the resolution to 32. Let's increase this to 32 as well. So now the part of animation where I animated this curve was like over here. I think it was in the shape keys, but not in the shape keys. Okay, so it's over here, the start and end mapping. So as you can see, the 0 to 1 the value goes, my curve goes from start to end. I just animated this value, and how did I animate it? It was like this. Let's go to the frame 1 and then let's make this whole to 0, and over here there is a button, animate property. You just have to click over here, and then let's go to somewhat like 20 frames, and then let's drag it up till over there, and then let's click on this button again. So now that property over there is now animated. So that's how you animate the curve, and then you can go to the 40 and then make it full 1. So now as you can see, my animation of that curve is being rendered. So now let's talk about how to render your animation. So I will just delete that curve. Okay, now as you can see, if I go into my animation property over here and just Control S to save it, now what we will do is go to the render properties, enable this ambient occlusion, bloom, screen space reflection, and then over here I think we are done. So now let's go to the output, and then over here this resolution will be of your rendered video. Don't make it too high, you can make it either 2K will be maximum quality, but it will cost you the render time, so I just like to keep it on 1000 as it proves to be a really good results. So and over here you have your frame rates, but I don't think you should directly render the video, but you should actually render the image sequences. So I will give a link in the description on how to convert your image sequences into your video. So I won't be showing you that, but over here you can choose the output where you want your render to be, image sequences to be. So you can just plug your render over there. So I usually make everything inside my Blender folder over here, and then I will just make a new folder over here such as image sequences, and then I will just open this folder and then just accept it. So now the new location for my image sequence is over there, and then file format I'll just keep it to PNG. You can actually render the video as well over here as you can see, but I actually don't prefer that, because if there is a power failure or Blender crash, then you have to do everything from the start. So to avoid that, you just have first, it is safe to just render everything in the PNG format and then later convert it into a video. So you actually don't need a alpha channel. Just click on RGB and let's set the compression to 0 and color depth let it be and on the 8. So all you have to do right now is just click on render animation, and then or you can just hit Control F12 and it will start rendering your animation as you can see in your rendered view. So that's how you make your render. So once you are done with that, you just have to now convert your rendered image sequences into the video, and I think I'll just give a link in the description on how to do that. So that's basically all the steps needed to create the video like that. You can also check out other tutorials for Blender beginners to make your own 3D models, such as some basic 3D block models. So yep, do like, subscribe and share to my channel. I usually don't say that, but it actually helps me to get a really good feedback if you do that. So yep, if you liked it, do like it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.